For my spring break proposal, I have chosen the Great Smoky Mountains. I've always wanted to go on a hiking style trip, and this seemed like the perfect time to plan one, so that is the main reason why I chose the Smokies and the Tennessee and North Carolina area. My family has never been on this type of vacation before, and it would give us the opportunity to social distance and for me to pursue my love of photography and drawing. For a little bit of history about the Great Smokies and kind of how they became a national park, it was more difficult for the Great Smokies to become a national park because so many individuals and companies owned land at the time, and ideas of creating a national park in this area didn't come about until like the 1890s, and it took until the 1920s for branches of like AAA motorists, supporters of Knoxville and Asheville, to actually get the government to pass a bill to enforce the national park protection on the Smokies. What's cool about the Great Smoky Mountains and like the surrounding area is it's on the border of North Carolina and Tennessee, so there's a wide variety of cities and activities to do near the mountains themselves. So you kind of get the option of either doing city activities or embracing that countryside of this area. This is a map of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, and it just gives some context as to where exactly the nearby cities are located and what parts of the park they're nearest to. This slide just gives you a little more information on the Great Smokies and the weather that we may be experiencing in March. It can range from about 61 degrees to 34, and we will be experiencing Eastern time, which is an hour ahead of what we normally are used to. And off to the side here, I have a couple attractions in the Great Smokies themselves and other local attractions in the cities nearby. Here are some specifics on the departure and arrival of our American Airlines flights. We will be flying out Sunday, March 14th and returning Sunday, March 21st. Once we land in Knoxville, we will need to pick up our rental car and drive to the Sherwood Forest Resort where our cabin is located and where we will be staying. It's about an hour drive from Knoxville McGee-Tyson Airport to the cabin. Check-in is not until 4 p.m., so we will have time to settle in upon our arrival and spend some time in our home away from home for the week. This cabin area and resort has a lot to offer, so even taking time out of our day to just hang out and relax here is what this vacation is all about. A large majority of the attractions are located in Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge, which is less than 5 miles away from the cabin itself. This is just an estimation of what we could be spending on this vacation. It would be nice to stay under $6,000 since it is a family vacation. There is some flexibility within the budget depending on what activities we decide to partake in. Many trails and other activities are free or included within our cabin rental, so it would be nice to take advantage of those opportunities. Also, eating meals at the cabin versus eating out can play a role in the budget fluctuating, and there are easy ways to cut back on price if need be with this style of vacation. I've put together a possible one-day itinerary for this trip. We would start with eating breakfast at the cabin to save a little money, and then we would go for a scenic drive through Cades Cove Loop, which is an 11-mile loop in the Smoky Mountains that I've heard amazing things about. After that, we would have a picnic in a park, and I've listed a couple restaurants that were highly recommended. Next, we would go for a hike either in the Smoky Mountains or an easier trail in the Gatlinburg area to see a waterfall. We would wrap up the day with dinner in the Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge area with some of the restaurants I've listed. These are some other possible itinerary activities that we can put into place of the itinerary I put together on the previous slide. This is just to make it more convenient when we are putting together exactly what we want to do on this trip as a family.